Galloway's Tech Talk at 3 with Chris and Jacqui from Emporia.
Welcome to Galloway's Tech Talk at 3. It's great to see you all here again, as always. I can't believe how many Tech Talks we've done since the 9th of April last year. It's amazing. Every single Thursday, except for Christmas, we've had a Tech Talk. So it's great to have you all on. I'm really pleased today to be joined by Chris Millington and Jacqui MacKinnon, who are joining us from Emporia to talk to us about some accessible glam phones. I like that word, glam. It sounds really glamorous. Is that what it's meant to be, Chris?
No.
Can you hear us, Chris? Oh, I think he's giving us a thumbs up. Yeah. Okay. I think it's meant to be glamorous. Is it meant to be glamorous, Jacqui?
Glam is German for clam.
Right. Okay.
So there are no glamorous connotations, although you might choose to think that some of our handsets are really pretty special to look at. But no, glam is German for clam. And so with the Talk Active, that's why we have removed the word glam, and it is a traditional clamshell phone.
Oh, excellent. There you go. I've asked Chris to unmute.
You.
There we go, Chris. There we go. That's because I muted everybody else, and they're not allowed to unmute themselves. So there you go.
No, I went back onto mute because my children were screaming in the hallway. So
Disclaimer: it can happen. It could be a cat, could be a dog, it could be a child. Could be anything. No, it's great to have you guys with us today to tell us more about your accessible phones. We're really looking forward to hearing more. So it's over to you guys.
So I'm obviously not going to go through a presentation I would normally give to our clients. So I'll just explain a little bit of a background of who Emporia are, in case you haven't heard of us before. Some of you may have. And why we've gone about doing what we're doing, and hopefully getting really involved with the blind and partially sighted community. So for my sins, I've worked in the senior mobile space for over 15 years. So looking at technology and design of technology for a generation over the age of 65. And addressing the common impairments that happen to us all as we approach those years of our life. And it's not that we can't use technology, but we use it less. And it's not that we are going deaf, but our hearing is somewhat impaired. And it's not that we're all going to suffer from sight impairments, but we all end up wearing glasses at some point to read a newspaper or a book or a magazine. And then when you extrapolate that further, and we work with organisations like the RNIB and Action on Hearing Loss, or the RNID as it's now called again. And we learn a lot more about what true impairments really are and how we can then start to adapt technology even further. So the product that we'll show you today is realistically a journey that I've been on personally, trying to find a talking mobile phone, so full text to speech and talking functionality. So I've been on this journey now for over 10 years trying to get one to work. I used to work for a company called Doro. You've probably heard of them. I ran that business for 13 years. And the only competitor to Doro in the whole of Europe is Emporia. Now, Emporia are 30 years old this May. Emporia has exclusively been building technology and communication solutions for an aging population for the whole of those 30 years. Doro have also been in the space, exclusively in senior for probably 12 years now. We used to do some home and business phones before that. And they both developed independent views on the way that technology can be adapted and adjusted to the requirements of the user. So they're not copying each other at all, but they are two really well-known brands, very good at what they do, really good quality products. But in the UK, Emporia just never made it quite work. So they approached me just over a year and a half ago to bring Emporia into the UK. And one of the first things I've done is develop a software for one of our products that addresses this requirement for a talking mobile phone. That's in a nutshell who we are and what we've done. We're an Austrian company. You'll still see made in China on our products, because everything electronics, unfortunately, is made in China. There's very few places in the world outside of China that things are made, but everything is designed and engineered, and the software is developed in-house in Austria with our team. And I'm really proud that we've been able to deliver such a great product in a very short period of time, actually. So the engineers were really clever, really fast off the mark, and were able to deliver a great solution. Sorry, is this clamshell phone?
Just, yeah, I've sent you for after you've done your demonstration there, Chris. I've sent you some questions that we've had come in already, which is great. Yeah,
oh,
no
they're
problem.
In the chat. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put them in the chat for you for afterwards. So sorry if I interrupted your train of thought there.
No, that's okay. I just saw something pop up, and
yeah,
it says you were talking, but you weren't. Anyway, it's okay.
that's very unusual for me. Excellent.
So we've got a range of products, actually. We deliver loads of different products into the UK market, from big button home telephones with really loud amplification and very good hearing aid compatibility, all the way through to mobile phones and a range of quite amazing smartphones now. And we've even developed a few medical products, again, building simplicity around them. So there's a temperature checker, which obviously in this day and age is something that people are doing all the time. But there's a really lovely talking blood pressure monitor that we are about to launch as well. So there's a few assisted technology devices looking at sensory loss, looking at sight and hearing specifically. So the product I want to talk about is not actually called the Active Glam now. We change it when we build it with this new software. So physically it's the same as the Active Glam, but from a software and working ability, it's now called the Talk Active, because it talks. It's a clamshell phone. So the great thing about this phone is that you can open and close the clamshell to answer or end calls. That's an option that you can turn on yourself. But every feature of the phone does the best possible thing it can to talk. So it's not a smartphone, it's a feature phone, so it's got buttons. And therefore it's not using language packs that go and use data. It's on the device itself. So it's going to be relatively low cost to run. So you could run it with a 2G or 3G service. It's actually a 4G phone. So if the network that you're connected to want to use 4G as the way to handle text or voice, it will do that as well. The voice assistant is turned on, voice assist, sorry, not assistant, voice assist is turned on by default. I don't know whether you can hear.
1519, battery level 87%.
If you can hear that voice that it's speaking now. So that's me with the clamshell closed. I'm pressing one of the volume keys on the outside of the device. And it
1519, battery level 87%.
It clearly states what the time of day is and what the battery level indicator is. Once you open the device, you've got a nice 2.2-inch high quality, high definition screen at the top. And large, well-spaced keys with the number 5 key highlighted as you'd expect on a keypad. Once you get into the menu of the device, you'll hear again that the device speaks on everything. So it can go into messages.
Photo album.
It's obviously got a camera for photos if you wanted to use that.
Contacts.
There's a contact book. There's lots of different areas, and all of those will speak. And effectively what the phone is doing is reading the screen, reading the information that's on the screen at the time and communicate it in a voice format. And you can hear the voice is very natural. It's a Google natural language voice that we've used on the device. So this device will only come with an English voice. We will do other devices for other languages, but the memory that's on board this device will only allow us to build in the English voice into the memory of the device. So if you want French, you might have to wait for a while. So if I go into messages and demonstrate one of these areas.
Write message.
So if I want to write a message, I type in the message using the keypad in exactly the way that it's a T9 keypad. So you can hear it speaks the letter. So I'm going to send a test message.
Send.
I'm going to send it to me.
Contact. Phone number. Enter mobile number. 0, 7, 8, 6, 6, 5, 3, 1, 5, 6, 3, 3.
Would help if I knew my own phone
Do you
number.
want to send a message now?
So it asks me if I want to send it, and I can send it.
Sending.
Now I can repeat the message that I wanted to send
Done.
by pressing one of the
Right
keys on the
message.
keypad above the keypad. It will tell me what the message is. But what I'm going to do is reply back to it so that you can hear a message come back, and you'll be able to hear hopefully that message read out to you. Just 1 second. So on my smartphone, I have the message that simply says test. Okay, yes. So just sent a text message back to my,
3 new messages.
you can hear it says new messages. So I'm going to view the latest one.
Thanks for listening today.
You can hear it speaks, thanks for listening today. If I want to repeat that, I go back into messages and look into
Right
history.
history. Chris. Thanks for listening today.
And that's the text message that you've already had. So it's always there in history. It's easy to access, very straightforward, and a nice device to use. So we can't make every element of the phone work because it's a feature phone, and therefore it's not a smartphone that can give you the ability to screen read or access the internet, for instance. But what it does allow you to do is perform everyday tasks, to send and receive messages, to make phone calls, and to confidently navigate around the product, and it will speak every single one of the menus and screens that appear on the display. So you can completely operate without sight. So that's that product. That's called the Talk Active, and that's a clamshell mobile phone with a nice large keypad and a lovely display, as well as the full-blown talking features.
Excellent. Excellent. It's great to, I think for a long time, we see lots of different phones that offer, large print and different, low vision options. But certainly, for a much more kind of, for a feature phone, for example, there haven't, for a long time, there haven't really been any options at let's say a reasonable price as well for a device that's going to talk. And that's the problem. It's kind of the gap between having a smartphone or having a feature phone. Some people don't really want a smartphone; they want a phone with buttons. So I think it's great to have that option that people can go to, and it might even be someone's second phone actually as well. I mean, I know some people have more than one phone as well. So it could be someone's. I was thinking I could use it actually really well as a phone on holiday, because I don't like taking my smartphone to the beach, getting sand all over it and dropping it in the sea. Don't want to be doing any of that. So I like the idea of having a phone that you can access with buttons, and it doesn't matter You know, if your fingers have got sand all over them, you're still going to be able to press the buttons on the phone and hear it, which is the most important thing, really. So
and hear it very well, because it's
yeah,
really quite a loud device as well. So we concentrate an awful lot on sound quality and the sound output. I'm losing my hearing, particularly in the left side. My high frequency is really starting to become impacted now. So I know I'm going to be a hearing aid wearer in the next 5 or so years. Thankfully, that'll mean I can turn the kids down as well, but that's another story. But having sound that you can hear is such an important part of a telephone conversation. There's certain sounds like the S or F sound that completely vanish from telephone conversations if you don't have a really good speaker and a really good output in a telephone. So they're really vital things.
Yeah, absolutely. And the difference between somebody having a phone like this with speech rather than not with speech is the guesswork's gone as well. I've known of people who every time they want to call someone, they use a preset dial, or they would they type the number in, and just it's a bit of a guess game. See if you win, see if you get the right number, and there's they don't have a contacts or don't have anything organized on the device that they can confidently go through to hear what they want. So to have a device like that can do that, I think's a real bonus as well. So when will we see this? Is this phone available now, Chris, or when will we see it come to market?
So we are going to officially launch the device on the 22nd of March. So it goes live with RNIB online, and obviously, we will have samples. You've got a sample now yourself, haven't you?
Yeah, I do.
So we've got samples that we'll also deliver out into the RNIB for review and testing of. But the product will be fully available as of the 22nd of March.
Excellent. And what type of what's the price point for it from if people want to buy it from the RNIB?
So it's including VAT, the bad term. It's £150. So obviously 125 without the VAT.
Yeah, the majority of people on here will qualify for the VAT relief through the RNIB. So that's it's great news. Yeah, brilliant. Okay, and do you want to tell us a little bit about your the other phone as well, the Comfort? Because I know obviously there may be some people that they don't require speech and want just something that's more of a low vision solution for them as well. And I know that's already on the market as we speak through.
It is indeed. Jackie, would you mind covering that? Because I can't find my V66 right this second.
No, I've got one here.
Oh, that's brilliant. We can get Jackie over. So let me bring Jackie in for a second. There you go, Jackie.
I've got a Comfort in my hand here. It's a clamshell phone with an external display on it. It has a large screen on it, and unfortunately I've picked up one that doesn't have any power on it, so you can't see it, but you'll have to take me on trust that it's very well lit. One of the things about it, which actually it shares with the Talk Active, is we have got an on-off button in the middle at the bottom, and that is highlighted by 2 raised bars. So it's very, very easy to navigate. You have 3 direct memory buttons above the keypad, which is actually very useful. And it's a very, very well spaced keypad, and it's backlit. Both these phones will take lock dots, bump-ons. So if you want to highlight something in particular which is of importance to you, you can do that by applying one of these kind of little devices. The text on this particular phone can be extremely large. It is graduated to the amount of information that's showing on the screen, but if you're just, say, looking at the time, it's positively huge. You're talking about something like a 26-point font. It has a whole variety of features on it. But I would say that it is still a very simple, simple to use, easily navigable clamshell phone. The outside display obviously tells you who's calling and the time. It's about, I think the price point ex VAT's about £58, so it's a very, very good product in that respect. You've got hard keys on the side. You've got a plus and minus on one side, and you have a torch and a camera key on the other side. So again, it's very, very accessible. And the R&IB have been selling this now for about 4 or 5 months and are doing very, very well with it. And again, Andrew has one of those available, so that when you get back to face-to-face meetings, then there is one available to be tried out, and I'm sure he can talk you through it over the phone for someone contemplating purchasing it. I mean, the two look quite similar side by side, but they are obviously very different products. One is talking, one isn't.
I quite like what you say about the power button on the front of the phone, where it's got the raised little the two raised lines either side of the power button. I quite like that. That's quite good. I like where the power button is.
Yeah,
and it's not actually on the side of the phone.
No, it's very, very easy to find. That's that's my talk active chatting. So yeah, both of them in the middle, at the bottom, and it has a little raised bar on either side. So very, very easy to find. With the talk active, when you turn it on, there is a sequence that you hear a startup tone. And then that the thing is actually turning on, and similarly when you turn it off, you're sure what's going on at all times.
Yeah, there's some quite nice little tones and noises that you get from the device actually, which is quite good. I also like the fact that you put in a spare back to the phone as well, which is quite good. The kind of the back panel that sits on the battery. I've got a spare one, so I don't know if you get a spare one or I've just got a spare one. But
no, what it is, in fact, it's one of the standard features on our clamshell mobiles, that we have what is called an assistance key. They're both in the center at the top, and it's like a little sort of finger-sized recessed button, and in it there is a heart, and basically you can choose to use it or not. If you choose to use it, you can set up to 5 emergency numbers, so that when you actually are in need of assistance, or you would press the recessed key, and it will fire out 5 text messages to the 5 numbers concerned, and then it will make 5 phone calls to those numbers. When the one of the first number answers, the phone will ask for a physical response.
Right.
So that if it happens to have gone to voicemail, then it'll move on to the next one. So it's a nice kind of safety network that you can set up with friends or family. You don't have to use all 5 numbers. Sometimes people choose to duplicate the number so that the thing will just keep tumbling through. But it's if you don't want to do that, you use the alternative cover, which covers up the assistance key.
Ah, I see. Right. Okay, I've got you right. I understand what you're saying now. Got you. Right. Excellent.
So you can choose to use it or not, as the case may be.
It's quite a good idea, that, isn't it? Especially if you live at home on your own and you find yourself in a bit of bother, and you need a little bit of help. It's a quick way of alerting people, and then they probably know that you're mostly at home, and if they don't get any response from you, then they probably call the emergency services, I suppose, as well.
Exactly, and hopefully when we are unlocked, sometime soon we hope, you know, if you happen to be out and about and you're sort of you just feel as if you need a bit of help, then you can press that key. And the other thing that it will do when you press it is that it will immediately set off like an alarm from the phone itself. So if you happen to be out and about at the time, not only will your contacts be being contacted, but anybody in the immediate vicinity will be aware that you've pressed an alarm button, and will hopefully offer you some help as well. So it's a very useful function to actually have, and it's common to all our phones.
Excellent. Right, great stuff. So I got your hand up there, Chris. I just saw that your hand was raised. I've unmuted you now.
Thank you very much. Sorry, I was just the other things that I was going to say about the device. So Jackie's done a really good job around talking about what the emergency button is for. But from a physical design perspective, one of the reasons why I chose this product is it's not too big, so it fits in your pocket or your handbag nice and easy. But also the connector on the bottom of the phone to charge the phone is a USB-C. And the great thing about USB-C is it can be inserted any way around. You don't have to go and look for a particular shape on the USB or try to find which way up the manufacturers tried to put the USB socket on the device. That can be very frustrating at times. And of course, we ship the product with a charging cradle. So if you plug the cradle in, you can always locate the device into the cradle, and then it will keep the device all charged up and topped up for you to be ready to go.
Yeah, I tell you, the USB-C connection now is a game changer. It's just that I need to really get my collection of USB-C cables going, because I've got a massive collection of micro and mini USB cables from the past 10 years. So I can always find one of them, but I can never find a USB-C cable because there's such kind of a new connection now. So I need to get but they are an absolute game changer, especially if you're visually impaired, because trying to get the cable into the socket, it can be quite tricky, and sometimes even if you've got it the right way around, you're not sure, and sometimes people can tend to break the connection.
It's
on
very
a device.
easy to break, actually.
Yeah.
It's if you feel as though it's the right way around and then you push the USB in hard, it will normally go into the socket even if it's the wrong way around, and then that snaps the inner pin off. That's a nightmare. That happens quite a lot. That's the reason why we're choosing to move to USB-C as fast as we can for all devices.
And the cradle, actually, because using the cradle is going to be a lot easier for people rather than plugging it in all the time. And you can always get yourself a spare USB-C for when if you don't want to take the cradle with you. If you go somewhere, you can have another charger. So yeah, it makes sense to use the cradle a lot more. It just slips in quite nicely, makes a nice little satisfying little click noise when it goes in as well, which kind of it's gone in correctly then as well.
Talking of little noises, one of the things that I realized we missed in the beginning on this product was a startup tone and a shutdown tone.
Yeah.
So we changed that very quickly in the software. So the version that we will launch does announce itself as it opens by giving a tone, and it vibrates as you start up, and as you close down, it does the same thing. So your phone's on or off, and your phone's got power in it if you need it to tell you what the battery level is. It's always useful to be able to be told what the time of day is as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely one thing with some smartphones on the market that you switch them on and the screen just comes on, but they don't vibrate. At least if the device vibrates, without sound, it's just get the vibration. You've got a good idea that you've switched the device on. I'm really excited as well, to hear about, you're talking about some of the other products that are in the line as well, that make things, more accessible for people as well. And I think that's a great product range to have to go along with the phones as well. And it'd be great for people to, to know if they're interested in some of those products, Chris, where can they find them as well? Such as if you were talking about you were talking about a blood monitor, I think you were talking about before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the blood pressure monitor, the talking blood pressure monitor, is literally landing in the UK now.
That's amazing. Yeah.
So I can.
Silent and relax.
So that's the monitor
Oh, cool.
talking. So whilst it might not be an English voice and not like the nice Google voice that we've got on the device, it's okay.
We don't care about that. We just, as long as it's got a voice, that's the main thing. Yeah, doesn't matter. It can be Australian, American. We don't mind.
And the great thing about the monitor also is that the font size that it uses on the display for the readout is also massive. It's a really nice, large, bright display, and gives a very good visual and audible output from the measurement. So very good. It even tells you where to put it on your arm as well, so it'll warn you that you put it on the wrong place on your upper arm.
Oh, cool. And is that going to be available through the RNIB as well?
I hope so. The samples arrived, and I'm not exaggerating by this. They arrived about an hour before this call.
Oh, wow.
As did my T221, because I gave all my samples away. In fact, you got the last one, Andrew.
Oh, I feel very honoured.
But I had.
That.
so that arrived just in time for this call. So thankful for that. But yeah, there's the range of products. We have our own store, which is shop.emporiatelecom.co.uk, which you could get the whole range from. We have various retailers that sell our product. Some of the really good ones that you might also be able to use your status to not pay VAT. Scots of Stow have started to do that now, and they range 5 or 6 of our products, including the blood pressure monitor. And I'm hopeful that RNIB will also range this as well. At the moment, it's just the 2 mobile phones. So the Comfort that has been in the range now for about 4 months, and exclusively will be the Talk Active. So it will only be available via RNIB and RNIB's distribution routes. Cool.
Sounds really promising. It's been great having you guys with us today. I think we've had some questions come in there. I'll also send them over to Jacqui just in case you both want to look at answering them as well, and then we can open the floor for some questions from the guys if they want to ask some live questions as well.
So question 1 is about, is it Android TalkBack? Effectively, it's based on an Android TalkBack system. So it's using the Google Voice. The Talk Active product is Android Go as an operating system. That's what it runs on. But like I say, it's not a full Android. It's not a smartphone. It's a feature phone that uses the Google operating system, and therefore that's how we've been able to very quickly adapt the screen reading ability of Android and provide such a really good English voice with it as well.
Cool. Okay, so it's like a light version of Android, I suppose, if you like.
Android Go doesn't give you access to things like the Google Play Store.
Okay.
And elements like that. It's built for markets like Africa and India, where you need a lower cost device. They don't have so many device restrictions from the network operators, or device requirements from the network operators. In more developed markets, Android Go is not sold in those channels really. It's a product that's really for the markets that are in development.
And then someone's asking, can you change the menu color from high contrast, or change the voice? And also, can you change the voice from male to female? How easy is it to do those things?
So there's no change of voice. So there is a restriction on how much voice and how much memory we have available to put the voice functions into the device. So we can't add multiple voices or multiple languages. We need to be sensible about how much memory we use with this, so we keep the performance as good as it can be. The Talk Active doesn't have a way to change contrast or size. But if you want to have a device that is more about what's on the display, then the Comfort is the one to go for. The font size is ginormous.
Oh, okay, cool. And well, this was a question for me there, because I've not been using the Comfort yet. I've been using the Talk Active and playing around with that one. With the Comfort, if you've got it very large text, obviously it might not all fit on the screen. Does it tend to kind of scroll across?
It does scroll across.
Yeah. Ah, right, lovely. Because that's quite good for people with macular degeneration as well, who they're missing that central vision. So it's good when text can scroll across the screen. That's a really good way of getting that across. So that's great. Does it read? Oh, does it read after you type? So does it automatically read? I think you touched on it before.
The answer is no, it doesn't. You press, when you open the phone, above the main 1 to 0 and the hash and star keypad, there are 3 light colored keys. 2 of them are for speed dials, and one of them is actually the camera button.
Yeah.
When you've written your text, if you press one of those, it will speak the text out.
Cool. Yeah, I think you touched on that before, didn't you, as well, when you mentioned that. Okay, that's great. Oh, okay. What happens if the storage space gets filled up? Does the phone slow down? I hope it doesn't.
Phones will.
All phones get
struggle
filled up
from memory, but
yeah.
You're not accessing the internet. It doesn't do WhatsApp, so you're not taking lots of videos and pictures.
Yeah.
And therefore, you're highly unlikely to use up the 64 meg of space available in the device. It's a fairly decent sized memory, unless you take thousands of photographs or hundreds and hundreds of photographs. Maybe thousands is a bit of an exaggeration. But yeah, from a text message, no problems. From a phone book, you can put 1,000 contacts into the phone, so no problem at all.
Well, if you've got 1,000 contacts, you're doing really well, I think.
Or you're doing really badly. It's a bit like collecting friends on Facebook, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a
they're
bit
not real.
bit too many, too many to have there. Yeah. And can you explain a little bit about the warranty that's provided with the device, and is there a separate warranty with the battery? After the support?
So batteries are always 6 months, because you don't know how a battery is going to perform.
Yeah.
The best description I ever had of a battery is effectively it's a controlled explosion. But sometimes manufacturers get it wrong. So Samsung got it wrong a few years ago, and everybody was worried about having a battery on a plane. No, it's you need to look after a battery. So it's unwise to leave your phone on charge overnight.
Yep.
It's unwise to leave your phone charging up all the time. Allow the battery to charge up and drain its power over a period of time through use. And effectively, you're exercising the battery. You're keeping it healthy by doing those things. If you just keep it on charge all the time, it just gets over. It kind of has a memory effect. I know they're not supposed to in nickel hydride batteries, but they do. So look after it by using it, by allowing it to discharge, and by charging it back up, and not using and not charging it overnight all the time. It's bad for battery.
Good theory that. And as a comparison, actually, with my iPhone, if you leave that on charge for a considerable amount of time, once it gets to 100%, it actually stops charging, and then it drops a bit of charge to about 98%, and then it starts charging again, and that's not good for a battery. So I tend to, I'm like, oh, if it's 100%, get it unplugged, and and don't leave it on overnight. But yeah, sometimes it's not having a charging schedule. I've tried to do that, but it sounds a lot easier than it is. And
I get into the habit where I don't charge my battery up at night at all. I leave it.
Yeah.
And then I'll plug it in the morning when I'm making a cup of tea, and by the time I've finished and I'm ready for the day, the phone's fully charged.
You're all right. Yeah.
And it takes about 45 minutes to charge a battery max.
I was going to say, yeah, try and have a regime where, if it gets to about 40%, that's when you want to give it another charge again. So you're not, it doesn't take as long.
But in terms of warranty on the product, it's a 12-month warranty that you'd normally expect. We don't really see an awful lot of issues with our phones.
Yeah.
And because you've got USB-C on the product, it's much more durable and tough in terms of its you know, the way it charges. You're not going to put something in the device the wrong way around.
Cool. Yeah.
They're fairly well tested in terms of durability for drop and for fluid as well. So it's IP54, which is,
Oh, okay.
if you're out in rain, it will live with rain, but don't have a swim with it.
Okay. Excellent. Okay, IP54. And someone said, how easy is it to enter a name into the contact? I'll say, I mean, I'll answer that one, because I was putting contacts in this before, and it's pretty straightforward to just kind of add a contact, type the contact's name with the T9 keyboard, and then just then put the number, hit enter, or the phone icon, then put your number in, hit the phone icon again, and then you've saved it. You save the contact. So it's not like you're going to enter loads of different numbers and addresses and things like that for a contact. Is it more or less kind of a contact's name and a number to make it more straightforward? Yeah.
Yep, it is. You can save from a phone call as well, nice and easily. You just go into the options of the call and save it, and then enter the name that you want to assign to the number. Same as a text message, you can use a text message coming in to do that. But of course, if you make sure that you save all your contacts to your SIM card before you start the phone up, then they'll just come across anyway.
Okay, that's brilliant. That's excellent. Yeah, I've had a good play with it already. I mean, from a training point of view, for me as a trainer, as a technology coordinator, to be able to train someone to use it and take them around the device, I think it's very adaptable very quickly for people to start using it. In terms of someone using a mobile phone, I would describe it as quite a quick win. In that area, we can get people using them pretty quickly, which I think's really great. So someone's also asked, but we've already answered the question, which was on the VAT about it being exempt from VAT. So we've already said that it will be able to be purchased from the RNIB for the ex-VAT price. I think it was about 125 or something like that if it was ex-VAT.
Yep.
So we got that as well. So that's great. And so that's all the questions that we had come in advance. We always get questions coming in advance, which I think is really good. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to this is where the madness starts, all the fun starts. I'm going to open the floodgates and let everybody kind of come back in, say hello, and they may have a couple of questions for yourself and Jackie as well.
Yeah. Just wanted to make a small point really about the voice thing. For people with a hearing loss, and you already mentioned in your own case that you're losing the higher tones. I would say that for that purpose, the male voice is actually a lot easier to hear when people are losing the upper range of their hearing. So it might be worth bearing in mind as to whether you reconsider having the male voice rather than the female. If you can't have a choice, then it's probably better to have the male.
That's really interesting feedback. Thank you. And the great thing about this product is we will push updates to the phone from time to time. So we're going to be able to take some of the feedback, learn and understand more, and then adjust the product slightly as we go through software.
No, I'm just saying it's you'll be able to hear the difference yourself. If with a man's voice and a woman's voice, you will distinguish better with a man.
I'll do exactly that. I'll check it out and see what it's like. Yeah.
I think I don't know if it's possible. I think in some products that I've used in the past where you can adapt the voice, sometimes if you can just change the pitch level of a voice without having separate voices, so you can change the pitch level, you can then bring the frequency down. So even though it's still a female voice, you change the pitch of it. Which you can do on. I know that you can do on smartphones. So that I wouldn't know how to do this. By the way, I don't know how to set this up, Chris. But I just think that could be a way as well. I know that. I know on my iPhone I can change the pitch of any of the voices if I wanted to, whether it's a male or female. So I can make a female voice sound really deep, which essentially is basically how these voices are constructed via pitch anyway. So that might be another way of doing it as well. But thanks for that.
Speaking, I too wear hearing aids, but the question, there's two questions I wanted to bring to you. Did you say you could not dictate a text message?
No, it does. So when you
dictate, you can dictate a text message
you
instead of
can't
using
talk to it to dictate.
Yeah.
Type in
Yeah.
using the T9 keypad. Once you've
Right.
typed onto the screen your message, you press one of the 3 white keys above the keypad, and it will then speak what you've typed.
Right,
So
you
can make
can't
sure that it's correct.
Yeah, but you can't speak into it to
No,
write
you
a
cannot.
message.
dictation.
No,
It's
it
not a
doesn't-
smartphone.
It doesn't speech to text. No, David.
No, right,
Ah.
okay. Thank you very much. The other thing that I'm always struggling with these kind of phones, and whether you're another manufacturer, can they be used in the United States? I certainly
Yes.
know some Doro phones can't. When I've looked at the forums and people have gone to the States, they've got the right provider for the States, but the phone itself doesn't work.
Yeah, so,
You know,
the,
they're on a
so the
different
States
GSM,
has
aren't they?
various, well, they have various different ones. Depends on the network that you use when you go to America. But they have a different technology over there because they didn't think that 2G was or 3G was the right way. So they had a different way of going about their technology. But 4G has become the standard across the world. There isn't a different standard.
Right.
And the device the Talk Active is more than capable of dealing with the network issues that there are in the US. No problem whatsoever. It's a quad band 2G, it's a triple band 3G, and it's a 5-band 4G device. So it's
All right. So well, you're right.
Yeah, no problem.
It does have a wide coverage. Obviously, things seem to have moved on. I'd never thought, for the United States, check that the phone is 4G. If you're getting a fresh phone, and you've got, you're thinking you might want to go to America, sort of.
America's changing a lot anyway.
When this pandemic's over,
It's changing a lot. So they use the technology called CDMA instead of GSM. And CDMA is now being closed down in the States. They're not really using it anywhere now. So in a year's time, when we're all allowed to travel again, by the time you get there, it will work anyway because they'll either be using 2G, 3G, or 4G.
Right.
Probably 4G.
That was something that surprised me actually.
Bearing in mind, well, thank you for that because it's helpful with other phones that.
It's a good. I mean, that was one thing that surprised me actually when I first got the phone and looked at the specs that it was 4G because I've seen a lot of phones like this in the past that maybe only 2G, 3G. Yeah. So I thought that's really good that it's got that capability built into these into this phone as well. So that's a really again another game changer really. So that's great.
I just wonder why you're not producing a phone with the internet, because in this day and age when everything is linked to the internet, you can't pay a bill without the internet. Then why have you not produced a phone with internet access?
So from a mobile phone, a speaking mobile phone, the one we've designed, the product is designed around simplicity and is designed around trying to make it as easy as possible to use as a telephone for speech and text messaging. We do, of course, have a wide range of other products that do have internet, but I can't develop lots and lots of different solutions. And as you already have a software that works on a smartphone, which would therefore give you internet capability, I decided that the right way to go forwards for this particular project was on a feature phone and concentrate on the widest audience for that feature phone. And that would mean that because it's going to be an older generation, less people are going to want to be able to access the internet through a feature phone.
I think that's the whole, and I think I'd probably, back Chris up there. That's the whole point of this particular device is about simplicity, and I suppose that gap. There's quite a big gap in the market there for a phone that's simplicity, that provides that spoken feedback, that doesn't have maybe all the, you know, it's not competing with a smartphone. It's there for that secondary phone that you might want, that's got that easy access, or for someone that maybe doesn't, you know, they might have an iPad or a computer, but they don't want a smartphone. They just want a phone that does that talking side of things. Because on the other hand, if we flip the coin on the other hand, I speak to lots of people that for a long time have not had an option at all, because when I've said, well, you can have a smart, you know, we'll teach you how to use a smartphone, or I can't use a touch screen. Well, I mean, we go to a clamshell phone, or a glam, you know, a glam phone. I like that word, glam. We go to the glam phone. It'd be like, well, they can't use the glam either because there's no speech. So it's a real gap, actually.
Yeah.
And I think, Chris, you're hitting a real gap. Although there are other phones on the market that do, you know, things, I think you're hitting a big gap here with the price point as well, because there aren't any devices that I know of that speak like this in this price point that you're looking at through the R&IB. For other devices, we're looking at £300, £400, £500. So I think,
and often they're bespoke devices, so they're not easily updated. They're not very well maintained over the life of the product. And this device is, you know, it's a very modern 4G device that will be able to update over the air intermittently and improve over time as well. So this is not the end of the journey, it's only the beginning.
I think as well, I mean, I've been in different jobs and workplaces where they don't want to buy an iPhone or an Android phone, and they just want to buy a nice, simple, quick phone. You could say to an employer, all right, look, I can't use one that clamshell you bought there, but if you go and get me a Talk Active, I could use that when I'm out and about, or I need a phone that's accessible for work. So again, it's another gap that's being covered there. So, but it's a really good question. I've
got a tablet that is adapted anyway, that you use at home, that you could use when you're out and about anyway. And the great thing about the Talk Active is it can create its own Wi-Fi hotspot.
Yes, all that as
so
well.
If you've got a Wi-Fi tablet with you, you can use the connection of the 4G on the phone.
All right.
To enable you to use it for internet.
Yeah, I saw that.
Right. Yeah.
You mean like tethering?
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
tethering.
data tethering.
Yeah,
that's exactly it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to give that a go. We'll take those last questions. Go on, Jenny.
It's just a very I work with Andrew. It's just a very quick one to say thank you for today. And also, did it have a headphone socket, or has it got Bluetooth connectivity to be able to do that, so you can be a little bit more private with your hearing what's going on with the phone?
Absolutely. So it ships with a headset.
Okay.
The headset plugs into the USB-C port. So there's only one socket on the phone.
Excellent.
And the headset is already with the USB-C on, so there's no adapters, there's no messing around. It of course has Bluetooth, so it will connect to a headset, or if you've got a hearing aid that's Bluetooth equipped, it'll deal with that without any issues at all as well.
Cool.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yes, I have. Hi, I'm a volunteer with the Sight Loss charity. I was just wondering, are there manuals available for volunteers?
Manuals?
Yeah.
Oh, Jackie's going to go crazy. Jackie, do you want to answer that question?
Okay, I have provided Andrew with the user guide, which we wrote for R&IB, and then they adapted it to their correct large print size, fonts, spacing, etc. So I proudly sent this to Andrew and said, Andrew, you will need this with the phone. I don't think he's even opened it, which tells me two things.
I will. I promise I will. But you see, I'm one of those guys that just gets it, plays with it, and then reads the manual afterwards.
Most men do.
I don't believe you read the manual.
No, most men don't read manuals.
No, they don't. I think we should actually occasionally pay lip service to the fact that they're there and open them. But also, I am waiting for Andrew to read this, because I would appreciate his feedback on it. But with the R&IB selling it, yes, you get the opportunity. You automatically get the large print manual. you will get the standard manual that comes in it, in case you want to share that with other people. And obviously with the RNIB, you get the opportunity to have it in Braille or audio. And I'm perfectly certain if Andrew talks to Julian, then if you want the large print manual for using with demonstration models, which we may provide for you, then that'll be absolutely fine.
Excellent. Yeah, I should be able to get. We should be able to get.
He
one of
works
them out
really
to
hard
UK.
on the manual, by the way.
Living and breathing it. Yeah.
Thank
yeah.
you, Jackie.
Yeah.
Andrew, send me the manual and I will read it and give Jackie feedback.
Okay. I will give the feedback. I promise. I will. I know Jackie's been dreaming about manuals. I think.
Well, it's very, very easy to use because obviously Andrew doesn't need to open the manual.
Excellent.
I feel a bit naughty for asking this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Why is the talking phone twice as much as the one with magnification?
Ooh, okay.
So if you're talking about the comfort device, the V66, the V66 is a 2G phone and is therefore a very simple, straightforward telephone, but we've got a really nice size font on it. The Talk Active is really quite a different proposition. So even without the software, it's going to be over £100 in the marketplace. Because it's a 4G device. It has lots of technology inside the device that you're not supposed to see and appreciate from a technology perspective, but we need to have in there for it to work with the network operator's requirements. One of those things is called voice over LTE. So that means voice over 4G. And it's a special type of technology that the networks all require now. By having that technology in there, it makes the chipset, which is the bit that connects it to 3G or 4G, much more expensive. And there's much more high licensing costs in 3G and 4G technology. 2G is almost for nothing. But you're probably looking, just in licensing alone, about $15 per handset on this product.
Ooh.
Right. Okay. And as we
not
know,
cheap to make.
voice over 4G LTE, obviously the quality as well of the phone call is going to be much clearer as well.
Better. You get more sound.
Yeah. I'd never go for a network where they don't offer you 4G calling, because that the quality is much better standard when you've got that enabled. So a great question there.
Yeah, thank you for that.
And a great answer.
Yeah,
it's almost like you were ready for that one, Chris.
Yeah.
To be fair, I tried to do a 3G product before when I worked for the previous company with RNIB, and this was very similar to my comment before about saying how a product needs to be bespoke and is more difficult to maintain. That was the reason why we couldn't get it to market. This product is really adaptable because of the technology it's built on. So it's not a case of me being ready. I appreciate what's in it and why we've been able to do what we've done because of what's inside it. That's the reason why. It's a great device, actually. Really impressed with it.
Yeah, absolutely. You look at these devices and you just see the nice colours and the shiny screen and whatever, but actually knowing what goes into it and what's inside it. I mean, that's what I'm into. If I see a device, I always want to know the specs of it, what's actually inside it, what makes it tick, and compare it to other things as well. So it's really important that you know those
use you
things.
as a test bed on our smartphone as well, Andrew. So
I'd love to do that. Well, I want to. I think it's been a great, so many questions today, which is great from everyone. So everyone, thanks very much for all your input today. It makes it all worthwhile. That getting all that feedback, and I'm sure Chris and Jackie have found this quite an enlightening experience.
Absolutely.
It's been great, actually. Really enjoyed it.
I've got another quick thing to say, Andrew.
Oh, go on, Jenny.
It's to both Chris and Jackie. Have you considered liaising with Deafblind UK because you've set it up for the site, but actually the quality of the hearing side of this with your Bluetooth connectivity to connect to your Bluetooth headphones, it might be something that they would consider, because maybe somebody with Usher's syndrome, where they get the dual sensory loss as well, would be of benefit to them. It's just another thought and avenue, because it's somewhere we would refer people onto as well as RNIB for various things.
Right, Jenny, thanks for that. I will take it forward. Thanks for the recommendation. I'm obviously aware of them as a charity, but I hadn't actually thought this one down that line, but I will definitely do so now.
Hopefully RNIB's sales team will be thinking down that route.
Yeah, I mean, we're working quite closely across RNIB at the moment, and in as much as they are selling direct to the consumer off their own shop, they are also using your contact on the commercial side to approach the various independent charities and things. So, but I will definitely highlight that to them. So thanks.
Brilliant. Well, Jacqui and Chris, been great having you with us today, and maybe in the future, when you've got some more products on the line as well, like the heart rate monitor, which I think is really the blood pressure monitor, which I think is a really great product. Be great to take a look at some of those other things as well. So we're always keen to get you back on at another point in the future. It'd be great to have you, and thanks very much for joining us today.
It's been a pleasure. Enjoyed it.
Thank you very much indeed for your time. It's been lovely to be with you again.
Thank you, guys.
No problem.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank
Thanks so
you.
much
Thank
for
you
your
very
feedback
much.
as well. Really appreciate it.